Hello. Had an interesting Facebook conversation with Jeff Dorton yesterday afternoon. He said, I had someone bail out. You're doing a talk. Okay. So here I am. So I apologize in advance. So I'm just basically going to give you the crash course in what we've been doing in the teenage class. We've started the book of Ecclesiastes last Sunday. We did chapter 1. Now we did chapter 2 today. And it's really an interesting book. It has been to me because generally what everybody thinks is that Solomon wrote it, in his old age. And we know about Solomon. He was the wise king, and then as he got older, he made some mistakes. And they think he wrote this book in his old age. Basically, he woke up one day, looked around at his mistakes, and just said, "What have I done?" And then wrote Ecclesiastes, pretty much. And a couple points here. I mean, it's the first couple chapters are actually kind of depressing. Some of the people in the teenage class actually said, "Wow, this is depressing." So you know who you are that said that out there in the class. And so this couple of things he says, and think about this like as if you don't have God, and you just are living your life. And think of it in that sense when I read these verses. Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 3. What profit hath a man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun? In other words, if you're not a Christian, you don't have God, say you don't even believe in God, what is the point of doing anything, really? Ecclesiastes 1:14. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. If you don't have God, anything you do, working on your house, going to work, it's just kind of some depressing thing. You're going through the motions. Say you decide to get all these great things in life. You build all these things. Well, what's it matter if you don't have God? Chapter 2, verse 18 and 19. Solomon talks about that a little bit. Yea, I hated all my labor, which I had taken under the sun, because I should leave it to the man that shall be after me. And who knoweth whether he shall be a wise man or a fool? Yet shall he have rule over all of my labor, wherein I have labored, and wherein I have showed myself wise under the sun. This is also vanity. Now think about Solomon. He died, his son took over, and pretty much right away he split the kingdom. So in other words, who got Solomon's stuff? Somebody didn't know what he was doing, basically. So again, think about that if you're not a Christian. You've done all this work, you have this great dream house. Who knows what's going to happen after someone else gets it? For all you know, the next person who owns a house is probably cooking meth in the basement and blows the house up or something. All that work you've done into it, and that's what happens to it. So really, what's the point in anything without God? It's just one big headache, one big misery. Again, like I said, a lot of the teenagers even said, this is kind of depressing. And I was like, well, yeah, it's supposed to be if you don't have God. That's the point. And then Solomon, is a spoiler alert for all the teenagers in there, because we haven't got to chapter 12 yet, so just hold on, spoiler alert. Solomon wraps it up in chapter 12, and he gives us a little bit extra advice on this. Ecclesiastes 12:1. So remember your Creator in the days of your youth, before the days of adversity come, and the years approach when you will say, I have no delight in them. Ecclesiastes 12:13. This is the next to last verse, I think, in the book. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. All that work you're doing, it seems like a big misery if you're not a Christian. If you are a Christian, there's something bigger in mind. You're really just a steward of what God owns. You're just taking care of it until the next person comes along. And remember how I told you about this where maybe some idiot gets it after you're gone? Well, if you're a good Christian, say you raise your children to be good Christians, they get your stuff. They're going to be more likely to, well, not be cooking meth in the basement of your house, like an example I made a little bit ago. So that's the point of this. Without God, life is just one big misery. And you see that out there. I've seen it with people I've known over the years where you may look at their Facebook profiles and their Facebook pictures and everything seems great, but then as soon as you talk to them, you realize life's really not that great. They're really not that happy. You dig a little deeper, and it's because they really aren't really being very good Christians. They're not following God. And really, as simple as, it's hard to follow, but it's really simple, at least to say. Your life is so much better. There's so much more purpose to it if you actually do follow Christ. So that's all I got. Thank you. Would have been better if I had more than 24 hours, but